Here I am walking in the city. As you know, I think Judaism is a natural religion and was predicated in the fields, in the country, and not in the city world with buildings, but nature with trees. And that's why this is an explication of the new year for the tree, the Ilan, and Shavat. Shavat is 311, which is Ilan fully spelt out. And here I'm in the city here, approaching what they call country here, which is Central Park. So here's buildings, and other buildings. See, repairs on buildings. But we're going to walk to Central Park, which is, like what they call the public space. Instead of the natural space, they make it the public space between buildings. So that's what it speaks right there. But as you know, I'm going into the tree world here, into their what they consider tree world. And as I said, I'm going to try to hug a tree. But the idea is that the tree, as the Ilan, is representative of Shevet, and that's why it's the Tu B'Shvat, the new year for the tree, and of even the first of Shevat is the tree, and these are 15 days of the tree, and that's the thing that I was doing here. And now I'm going to start to explicate more about the concept of Shavat and of the concept of Ilan being of the Yetsirah world. And this is the Hiddush, that the whole concept of Shavat and Ilan, the tree, Shavat is 311, and Ilan, that's 311 plus 3 plus 1 would be 315, 3 letters for Shavat, and 1 for all. And then that's 315. That's the same, by the way, as Shaddai, 314 plus 1 that you have on the mezuzah. Shaddai, which also is a representation of the field. And what we're going to do is some more gematria here of the representation of the word Ilan compared to the word eitz. We usually use the word eitz, for tree, Yetsirah, things like that. And Eitz Hadas. And so here we are in Central Park. And so here's trees. Trees, here we go, trees. Make a big deal, trees. That's Central Park. But that's not New York City, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? New York City is buildings. Trees get in the way here. So, but these are the real men. Men are the trees. Man is a tree of life. The Zadok is a tree. You know, if you examine the trees themselves, these branches, these are like arms. These are like the goddesses in, you know, the Indian goddesses are like a tree here. See those arms, many arms. Just switching hands here, a little cold. So usually I go under this tunnel, but I'm going to walk up a mountain today. The mountain. You know, I made a comment yesterday that if I was to walk Mount Everest, here's my Mount Everest, I would use a pick and shovel like Hillary did to climb Mount Everest. You know, the Sherpas really climb Mount Everest, but Hillary used a pick and shovel. Now they, you know, airlift you to the peak, and you plant your flag, and you and your girlfriend there, you know, send out signals. You know, so here the 311 plus 3 plus 1, and for Elon the 311 plus the 4 letters, that gives 315. And the key is that the number 315, it's Yetsirah world. Yetsirah world is 315. So to enter into the Yetsirah world, that's when this time of the tree and of Shavat, and quite frankly, that's what I've been talking about here. Because I entered Yetsirah world, I didn't even know why or how, and I guess this is why and how, because that's what you get here on Shavat, on the first 15 days of Shavat. It's a Yetsirah world entry. But today, I want to speak also about the second word of tree. You know, that word, eights. Because to me, eights is a very big deal. Eights, you know, Elan comes from Yetsirah world, but eights comes from the Atzmuts of Ein Sof world. The eights is 160. 160 is the gematria of Zelem. It's also the gematria of Kayin. And so what we're dealing in here is gematria of Kayin and the Zelem. And for me, the Zelem is represented by Kayin. There's two. They go to a deep thing. The Zelem is beyond, in my opinion, the 5 levels of the soul, which will also be shown here as 315. And the Zelem, and there's 2 Zelem, Zelem Elokim and Zelem Yud K Vav K. You see? And so here I am trying to take a video and see some people working on trees here. You know? May I ask what you're doing? Because I happen to be doing a video about trees right now.
Oh, we're looking at...
Is it permissible to ask you? Because I'm actually filming it for myself. So.
Oh, wow.
We're doing a lab report on trees in Central Park.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah, so we're trying to identify trees.
Oh, beautiful. May I just make a comment to you? Because I'm a Jewish scholar.
Oh,
And these 15 days of these days, there's a holiday in 2 days called Tu B'Shvat, which is called the New Year for Trees. You can look this up. It may be interesting for you because you're actually out here that particular day examining trees in Central Park. Because on the 15th of Shavat, which is in 2 days, the sap starts to run in the trees here, and there's a dispute: is it the first of the month of Shevat or the 15th of the month of Shevat? So these are all these 15 days of the. In fact, there's going to be a full moon. There's going to be an eclipse in a few days, and that's the day that's the 15th of Shevat. But the point is that the word Elan, tree, is symbolizes the month of Shevat, and so that's what I'm doing. So you're doing the same thing from your own point of view, and you don't know it. So thank you. Thanks a lot. No, it's okay. Good luck with your scholarship. So here I am, and you just heard that there are other people here doing work on trees. Now, I didn't tell them about the eights, because the eights comes from the word atzmuts, the atzmuts level. You see, these people are out here identifying different types of trees in Central Park. That's different types of men. They don't even know it, because they're from the science point of view. But this actually was a weird video that should happen. And so here, eights as 160, like eights Chaim. But if you know the word atzmuts, it's the word atz, mavet, tree of death. And so for me, the zelem, is a very weird thing, you see, because the zelem leaves 30 days before your death. And that's like 1 month, but it's 30 days. And atz, so there's 2 different kinds of trees. There's a elan that's in the Yetsirah world, and the atz, which is to me in the atzmuts world. You see? And so there's different levels. There's the same word like ish. Ish is 311, which is the same as Shevet. You see? Which would be the same as Elan. Ish is 311, that's man. So when you're dealing in these things, you're dealing at different levels. There's an Adam level, there's a man, Ish level. There's different levels, different worlds. Now, for me, the Yetsirah world is opened here at 3:15. 3:15 is the Yetsirah world. You see, so I forget what tree I hugged last year here. I may go and hug the same tree just to show that I'm, faithful. I don't remember which tree, but so there's an exploration in nature where I think Judaism is. Judaism is nature. It's outdoors. It's the different New Year's. You wouldn't know there was New Year's tree back there in Cityville, back there in Rentville, landlord town. You wouldn't know all that, would you? So, let me see if I can hug this tree. I don't know how to take see if I can get it, because I don't know if I can get it. There we are. I don't know if it's getting enough. So, here, hold it. This is Adam's Peak here, Adam's Peak. And it's also Mount Everest. I don't know if you know that, but this is Mount Everest. Have you ever been to Mount Everest? You know? So this is Mount Everest. Take my word for it. Like you take my word for everything else. I'm probably as correct on everything else as I'm correct on this. Mount Everest. Beautiful. But this new year for the tree, and I'm actually quite excited here. Because this new year for the tree, I'm meeting those people and being out in the field. Under normal circumstances, that's pretty weird, identifying the trees in Central Park. But considering it's between the 1st and the 15th of Shavat, it's not so weird. They don't even know it. And here, now, let me identify some of these trees for them. This is what you call a weird one. That's a weird one. That's a weird man. See, he's split. You see the split there? The root is split. On the right side is Adam, the left side is Eve. All into one. He was entwined into one before he split into two trees. You see, there are two trees. There's the tree of life at time, and then there's a tree of the knowledge of good and evil. But actually, in the highest echelon, there's only one tree. It's one tree that gets split down here into two. Everything down here is split into two, but there's only one tree. How could there be two trees? Everything else in the highest echelon is ehad. Here's some roots for you. Here, I'm going to show you some other roots. I don't know if you can. Yeah, there's some other roots. Yeah, these are roots. No. So this is, I don't know, I forgot already what I gave you as far as the gematria and things like that. And you can probably hear the music background that's over there. This man actually has been playing there for years. Sometimes he goes to Japan in the winter. I guess he didn't go this winter. But here we are. More trees. And see, the Central Park is an add-on for them, for the city world. But the center core is always the most important core. The center core, Johnny Appleseed told me that the core of the apple is the big deal. And, he also told them in the late 20th century that, that's why they're doing all these core exercises now. Johnny Appleseed was the one that revealed that. And he the whole idea of the apple. The core of the apple. And, this is the fruit of the tree of life. It could have been an apple. And that's why we're out here celebrating Johnny Appleseed. And there's two fars away. There's a far away that could be very far, or there's a far away that could be the core. You see? And when you're dealing now in the Yetsirah world, which is the air world, you're dealing in a world that has nothing to do with land. So we're dealing in the air world, and that's kind of like, like internet and stuff like that, electricity world and the air world. And so the air world, one could be in the center of their core as the most furthest away and broadcast from their core. You don't have to like disperse physical beings around the world anymore. Because quite frankly, this is the dissemination of Hasidus around the world. This is the dissemination of my Kabbalah around the world. This is the dissemination of what instantaneously. Here, 10 men up here, 10 trees. You know, in the old days, when you didn't have a minion, you can go out in the field and pray amongst the trees. And if you had 9 trees in you, that's a minion. Why? A tree is a man. Let's count them out there. There's plenty of trees there. So don't tell me you couldn't go stand in the middle there like I'm going to go now. In the middle of this Rumsey playground, which they are reconstructing here. To my disbelief. Here. Here are 9 trees. Here we are. 9 trees. There are the cherubim looking at each other. Yeah. 9 trees. Nobody tells me you can't pray right here. So, this is an entry into the Yetsirah world. Yetsirah world, the tree world, of the Elan, of the Shevet, and appropriate for Tu B'Shvat. And as we approach Tu B'Shvat, the culmination of its origin on the first of Shabbat, of its potential, we reach the actual on Tu B'Shvat. And this is just the beginning. The beginning is the actual.